Welcome to the show, everybody. Mark Farzetta here for the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie.ag. Nice to have you along for the ride. So much to get into today. What would you call a dark night? Sixers are off, Flyers are off, Eagles, of course, coming back from their bye week. At least you had Monday Night Football to watch, and I still had the fond memories of watching Tyrese Maxey the previous night just drop 50. I got one more thing on that game that we're going to get into, something I didn't realize until this morning when I was reading more about Tyrese Maxey, a throwback, a shout out that he had for why he's here in Philadelphia. We'll get into that conversation. Another move to ban the Tush push. And I find this one extremely interesting because it's a slow phase out, according to John Runyon. That's John Runyon's son, who is now playing for the Green Bay Packers. We'll get into that conversation, and we're going to have a conversation with United States Marine Corps Captain Mike Donahue. I shouted him out yesterday on the show, personal friend of mine. He's got a great event going on. If you haven't heard about it, it's awesome. Folds of Honor, and this is to benefit servicemen and women who are struggling, having a lot of difficulties back here in the home front, also their family members, and it's all for a great cause, and it's all a great time for a good cause here. A good time for a great cause, I should say. The Army-Navy game viewing party at Yards Brewery, December 9th, is going to be hosted by my friend Mike Donahue. I know him as Mikey, a United States Marine Corps captain. He reached the rank there. I've known Mikey now for 14 years, and great guy, and he's hosting this event. You guys should check it out. With Veterans Day just being this week, I wanted to make sure we did something to salute our service men and women, and Mike is hosting this great event. Folds of Honor Army-Navy football game watch party. Pre-game and game watch party includes event entry, Folds of Honor swag commemorative gift, so that's nice. Food, 3-hour open bar. Hello, live band. The Pontiacs are going to be performing there. So make sure you guys check that out. Mikey will be on the show a little bit later to not just talk about his Philadelphia, not just talk about his time in the service, not just talk about the event itself, but also talk about how he followed sports while overseas in 2013. I'll get into how I know Mikey coming up in a second, but yeah, a lot of great stuff in there, including the time he was away serving in the military, serving for the United States Marines, how he was following and what he was following while he was away. It is quite hysterical, as a matter of fact. So we'll get into that conversation coming up in a minute. I absolutely love Tyrese Maxey, and I remember saying at the end of last year that as down and out as I was, and if you're just joining me, if you haven't watched the show before, when the Sixers lost to the Celtics in Game 7, I was beside myself for a long time. That loss stuck with me more than the Super Bowl. It stuck with me more than the Phillies losing the World Series to the Houston Astros. It has stuck with me more than this Phillies team losing in Game 7 to the 84-win Arizona Diamondbacks. Because I was looking out into the future, and I was saying, well, where do they go from here? Because James Harden's going to be gone. Joel Embiid's probably growing unruly. He didn't have the greatest postseason run in his own right. So where do they go from here? I wanted the Sixers to do more or less exactly what they're doing right now, which is have this kind of gap year where they don't go out and they acquire a superstar. They don't go make some huge trade to get somebody in that's going to help them win right now in the starting five. I wanted them to go out there and invest in Tyrese Maxey's future, invest in the future of Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid playing together as one. Well, Joel Embiid, after Maxey dropped the 50-point game, tweeting out the franchise with him and Tyrese Maxey in that photo for the Sixers, that is a dream come true for me. To go from where we were at the end of that series against the Boston Celtics in the postseason last year to where we are now as a fan base is, I feel, a quantum leap. Does it put you in a quantum leap to be a real championship contender? Maybe not yet. But if you're telling me that you're pairing Joel Embiid with a superstar 23-year-old who's averaging 28, 29 points a game, who just dropped 50 in a game, who has already got a conference player of the week under his belt, well, now Joel Embiid has a conference player of the week under his belt, then you're telling me you're on the up and up. If you're telling me you got a bench that's performing very well, if you tell me still in a trade that was made, you got 2 first-round picks and guys that, yes, off the bench can help you. Now, then, yeah, I'm feeling pretty damn good about it. But the number one reason I wanted the Sixers to have that gap year is to give Tyrese Maxey that room to grow. And then secondly, that room to grow next to Joel Embiid. And then hopefully that tandem stays together for the foreseeable future and not, all right, here's a year and a half of this, and now we're going to move on to the next thing. That's not where the Sixers are at. At the time when they lost to the Celtics, my words were, I need Tyrese Maxey to take a Hurtsian leap. Jalen Hurts, in his second year as a starter, went from, is he the guy, to MVP candidate, runner-up for the MVP, took his team to the Super Bowl. And in year two, that was the leap from year two as a starter. From year one as a starter to year two as a starter. Tyrese Maxey, I asked to take that Hurtsian leap. I thought it might be a little unfair for Tyrese Maxey to take that type of leap where, he's going to be a great starter, but then he's going to become elite, as in a MVP candidate. That might be a little much, especially when we have seen, here's what's so difficult about judging Tyrese Maxey. From this point, we have seen incremental increases, obviously. We've seen increases of Tyrese Maxey's playing time for various reasons. The Ben Simmons fiasco is obviously one of them. Joel Embiid missing time with COVID, and we had that kind of 8-9 game stretch of really seeing Tyrese Maxey run the show in Philadelphia. Then obviously James Harden came here. But each time it seemed like there was more opportunity. The ceiling was rising for Tyrese Maxey. Oh, can you really expect him to be a 21st overall pick bench player, guy coming off the bench, playing well in the play? Can you really expect him without Ben Simmons being here to take a huge leap? Oh, wow, look at that. He took a huge leap. Now Ben Simmons is gone. James Harden is here. Tyrese Maxey gets more playing time. Tyrese Maxey, the ceiling goes up a little higher. He gets even better. And you see him continue to climb. And now without another guard being here, like James Harden, you're seeing that ceiling raise again for Tyrese Maxey. I said it yesterday after the 50-point game. You look at it like this. I wanted him to be an all-star. Might have been undercutting the guy. Might have been underselling the guy, saying that he was, I just wanted him to be an all-star. He could be an MVP candidate. Tyrese Maxey could be. He plays like this for the rest. If this is the Tyrese Maxey right now, what's he going to be next year? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to what this Tyrese Maxey does in the playoffs. I want to see that. But in the years to come, if he keeps improving and he's only 23, just turning 23, the future is beyond bright when it comes to Tyrese Maxey's future in Philadelphia. And at the end of the Boston Celtics series, I said I want him to take that Hurtsian leap. I need him to take that Hurtsian leap. The only thing that would really give me optimism for the future, the next 3, 4, 5 years here in Philadelphia, it would be Tyrese Maxey taking that leap. Damn, son. He's doing every ounce of it. And it is mind-blowing. And it's all courtesy of this. I did not realize that Maxey shouted out Mike Muscala, former 76er Mike Muscala. I was reading Kai Carlin's story. Kai's been on the show a number of times. And this quote jumped out to me. I didn't hear Maxey say this. But he said, I hear it so often, and Maxey laughed. Bub, who's the team security, reminds me at least twice a month. What does he remind him of? He reminds him if Mike Muscala doesn't hit 2 big threes for the Oklahoma City Thunder, the pick never swaps to the Sixers, and they don't get that first-round pick, and they don't take Tyrese Maxey. So Mike Muscala hitting 2 threes for the Thunder in the bubble converted their first-round pick to the Sixers' first-round pick, to which they took Tyrese Maxey. We know that history. Most of us know that history. I didn't know that Maxey gets reminded of it so often, especially by team security. And he says, Maxey goes on to say, he's seen it. It's great. That's cool. I mean, that's just ironic, I guess. Shout out to Mike. I like being here. I didn't realize that he actually shouted out the guy that hit the threes that swapped the pick to go to converted the pick to be the Sixers so the Sixers could take Tyrese Maxey. I love it. I remember interviewing Tyrese Maxey when he was just drafted by the Sixers. He talked a lot about his family. And I was reminded of this yesterday because yesterday Tyrese Maxey was on NBA Today. And he was asked the question about, basically who texted him. He drops 50 points for the first time in his NBA career. Who texted him? Malika Andrews. who does a wonderful job for ESPN, asked him a question. And he said there's two things that jumped out to him after the game. He got a text from Coach John Calipari, his former coach there in Kentucky. And he said, how many points? Coach Cal texted him after the game and said, how many points did you drop? 45? And Maxey had a laugh at that. I thought that was funny. And then he said, you know who he went to? He didn't say like, oh, I got a text from Drake. Or, I got a text from Taylor Swift. I don't know. I got a text from whoever. He could have, I'm sure there's a number of people, notable people that texted him after that game, that reached out. I'm sure somebody said something more notable, more popular than his family. Don't get me wrong. I love that his family hit him up after the game and FaceTimed him and told him how much they loved him and they're proud of him and all that. That's beautiful. But what's awesome is that that's what Tyrese Maxey went to. He could have went for bragging status. He could have went for, look at me, I have these celebrities or I have these famous players, these all-time great players reaching out to me, telling me great game and all that stuff. And I'm sure they did. But you know who he went to? He went to his family. He mentioned his college coach and he mentioned his family. When I interviewed him some years ago, the guy was all about family. Now the guy's had some success as an individual NBA player. He's obviously shown that improvement. He just wanted to talk about his family. He wanted to talk about what he did during the pandemic. He wanted to talk about how his entire family lived in one house. And that's what stuck out to him. That's what jumped out to him, his family. The reason I bring any of this up is because I think it's a tremendous insight, because it is a tremendous insight into the psyche of this young man. A number of other things. While he's having that conversation with Malik Andrews yesterday, about his family and all that stuff and who reached out to him, he said that they went around the room with the phone and there he saw his twin nieces. He was like, hey, how you doing? So I said, hey, what you doing? So his mom, hey, how you doing? And his dad, who apparently has never acted impressed about anything Tyrese Maxey has done in a very fun, loving way, he just was sitting there at the table just like, 50 points, huh? Good for you. Yeah. 50 points, huh? And Maxey was just like, I love that dude. I can't I can't get a rise out of my dad. It's always been like that. I think it's a beautiful thing. So I bring that up because we know about Tyrese Maxey's work ethic, and I think that work ethic all comes from what's between the ears. And we have been burned by that in the past. And I know I've made this point before, but it's worth saying again. I've never heard Joel Embiid talk about culture. I've never heard him talk about it, at least not in the way that I've heard him talk about it in the last two games. This is the culture. The Sixers don't have a great culture. They have a great history, but they don't have a great culture. Since the process, they haven't had a great culture. And let's face it, there's been a lot of excitement since the dark days of 10-win seasons, 18-win seasons, 19-win seasons, and we all know the history lesson there, but that doesn't exactly breed the best culture. For Joel Embiid, the reigning MVP of the NBA, to say that the culture here is something special, and Tyrese Maxey being a big part of that, and I played the clip for you yesterday about how much he just loves coming to work every day, how happy he is to go there at 7 o'clock in the morning, how happy he is to play basketball every single day with his teammates, and he loves it. And he loves it so much that he's willing to work his ass off for it. Is that not exactly what we ask of our athletes every single time? Act like you're getting paid millions of dollars to do this, and act like you're having fun, act like you're loving it, and work your ass off above all else. Tyrese Maxey checks all those boxes. I always like to refer to these players as it might be a little callous, but it's true. You look at these athletes sometimes as stocks, and you stock up, stock down. Tyrese Maxey is someone that you heavily invest in. He has all the tools. And one of the reasons I had confidence that he was going to take that Hertzian leap, I'll say it again, is because this guy just has the right mindset to do it. It's as simple as that. I never bet against anyone who has a good amount of talent and a great work ethic, because that talent is only going to rise and get better and get better and get better with that work ethic. And Tyrese Maxey is every ounce of that. Look forward to him being back at it Tomorrow night, I believe it is. It is tonight. I'll check it out. But yeah, just wanted to make sure I got into that. This next thing is an interesting thing. The Eagles, of course, taking their bye week. We'll get into last night's Monday Night Football game because the Bills are on the docket in 2 weeks. And wow, maybe one of the most disappointing teams this season, the Buffalo Bills. But anyway, I digress. I'm sitting on the Battleship, New Jersey, and the Eagles are playing the Commanders in that Week 4 matchup this season. Landon Dickerson gets called for offsides on a tush push or brotherly shove. By the way, I find tush push just easier to say than brotherly shove. That takes a lot out of you to say all that. But anyway, so they're running the tush push. And I remember Bill Colarulo saying, maybe this is how they get rid of it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, that's a ticky-tack call. And I go, that is a ticky-tack call. And we've seen it once or twice since. And then Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports put this story out there last week about John Runyon, the offensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers, Johnny Jr., I guess. John Runyon was called for a false start twice on Jordan Love quarterback sneaks during the Green Bay Packers win over the Rams. On both occasions, it was a 4th and 1. Now, here's what's interesting. Runyon goes on to say, I guess it was at this point, I guess it was a point of emphasis. I guess it was a point of emphasis with officials. This is last Wednesday, he said this to Sports Illustrated. I wish I would have been told that for the first one, meaning the first false start penalty. It's something that's got to be communicated better. That's the NFL trying to phase the play out slowly. The Eagles are fantastic at running this. That's no question. The Eagles running the tush push is better than the percentage of point after touchdowns. That's what we're looking at here. That's how efficient they run that play in terms of getting yards and getting a first down. I don't understand why the move is to ban it. Teams around the NFL should be trying to, and they have tried to replicate it. They can't. Teams should be trying to break this down. You know who really had a good answer to this? Josh McDaniels. Before the Eagles played after the Eagles played the Dolphins, he was asked about it, and he said, yeah, I think it's a testament to how hard they work and a testament to the detail that they pay attention to in order to run that play so efficiently. The rest of the league should be trying it or doing it, and they can't. You know why? You don't have the combination of a quarterback that can squat 600 pounds and an offensive line that is, at its worst, 4th best in the NFL right now. Nobody else has that. Ravens have the closest thing to it, but they don't have a quarterback that can squat 600 pounds. They don't have a 6'2", 6'3" quarterback running it for them. So the Eagles, yes, they make it look like it's cheating, but it's not. And the rugby play is such a sad attempt to belittle the people that, it's a rugby play. That is such a sad attempt to denigrate such a great play, diminish such a great play. The Eagles run this to perfection, and nobody else can do it. That's why people want to ban it, because they can't stop the Eagles from doing it. And God forbid they face the Eagles in a crucial game, and the Eagles do it, and they convert a 4th down. They keep a drive going, and then the next thing you know, they're up and they win again. The rugby play, like all of football is a rugby play, except for throwing the ball forward. That's about it. I don't understand the people that try to diminish the value of the play with comparing it to a rugby play. And it would be an absolute shame if the NFL even tried to, quote, slowly phased it out at all. Whether that's the slow phase out with the false start calls that we've even seen happen against the Philadelphia Eagles, not just the Green Bay Packers. But it would be also terrible if they decided at any competition committee meeting to get rid of this play. It's not just because it's the Eagles. I think it's the most football play that you could possibly run. Honestly, you don't even have to break it down. But it's our force against your force trying to gain ground. I won't even say a yard. People that say it's a rugby play are just really throwing darts at a board. They're throwing crap against the wall and seeing what sticks. Because to me, it's the most basic form of football that you can draw up. Our force versus your force trying to gain ground. Stop us. Oh, but they're doing it really good. Well, then we should ban it. No, that's the most crybaby crap I've ever heard. And when I read this story last week, I was like, that'll be a good bi-week conversation. And here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to get to this interview with my friend Mike Donahue. Now, here's the thing. If you guys can support, once again, Folds of Honor, I ask that you do kindly. Here's some more information on it. I'll be showing this during the interview, of course, that we're about to play for you. So make sure you guys check this out. And if you can, thank men and women in service, Marines, Army, Navy, anyone, Coast Guard. My grandfather, 25 years Coastie. Then please do so. Now here's a little background. I've known Mike Donahue for about 13 years. He went to college with my wife. And on my wife and I, when we went on our first date, we ended up meeting up with some family of mine. And it turns out my little cousin, Brianna, who's a teacher now, her 7th grade history teacher was Mike Donahue. And I had met Mike a couple of times. I think we played softball. And they just got to talking. So he was very much in my world already. And later, next thing I know, he's sitting at my wedding. He's sitting next to my cousin Brianna and her dad, my cousin Steve, who's also a Marine. So they had that to talk about, of course. And it's just a funny way that the world is connected. But Mike is hosting this event for Folds of Honor for the United States Marine Corps for an Army-Navy watch party at Yards Brewing in Philadelphia, right there in Spring Garden. So make sure you guys check that out. For more information on it and just for some fun conversation about sports, I will say this. My wife and Mikey, they both went to E-Town. That's how they know each other, like I said. And a couple other of our friends all played basketball at E-Town. So, yeah, E-Town's the name on the street, by the way. That's what they call it, E-Town. But I asked him to rank his friends who all played basketball at E-Town. So we'll have some fun with that at the end of it. Without further ado, here is United States Marine Corps Captain Mike Donahue. Is the name of the group, and you're going to be hosting this great event that's taking place on December 9th at Yards Brewery. People can look up this information here. It's a watch party for the Army-Navy game, of course, and people can check out this information as well so they know what they're getting involved with. Tell me a little bit more right now about Folds of Honor and this viewing party, this watch party for Army-Navy.
Yeah, so the chapter of Folds of Honor that I belong to is actually the Eastern PA, New Jersey chapter. And just started getting involved this past April, and we were looking to do more events in the Philadelphia area. And I was because I live in Philadelphia, I was sort of tasked with coming up with some new events to host inside the city. And I came up with this idea, and I thought it would be good because the Army-Navy game, which is traditionally in the city of Philadelphia, unfortunately is hitting the road for like the next 5 years. So I figured people will be looking to do something for the game, and was able to make some connection with Yards, and I figured people would want to get together, watch the game, have a good time for a good cause. And just so everybody's aware, what we fundraise for is we fund scholarships for the spouses and children of fallen service members and first responders. And the mission also includes funding scholarships for the spouses and children of service members and first responders who have been paralyzed in the line of duty as well. So basically want to make sure that those who made the ultimate sacrifice for the country and their local communities, their children and spouses have the opportunity to continue to pursue an education and be able to, provide for themselves.
We have to acknowledge father is a Marine, oldest
Correct.
brother is a Marine, and
Correct.
You obviously a Marine as well.
Yep. And grandfather.
I wasn't sure. I thought so. I didn't want to reach the next generation.
What shoulder am I pointing at? He's right there.
Oh, really? There you go. Beautiful. Obviously, I heard this recently, and I don't want to catch you off guard here, but I have to ask this question because I was talking to a Marine a couple weeks ago, as a matter of fact, and I said, thank you for your service. Is that taboo to thank a Marine? Because they're like, you never thank a Marine. And I'm like, why? Because you're still serving? And it's like, well, it's just, we don't know what to say. And I'm like,
Nah, I've heard of some people taking, I don't know, that I guess they're maybe growing tired of it. I don't know. I'm not sure. But to me, if someone's expressing a sincere gratitude, and it's not just kind of rolling off with like, oh, well, yeah, thank you for your service. Like, as long as you can tell they truly mean it, then I think that's fine to say.
They're not pulling the Larry David.
I always recommend buying a Marine a beer. That always goes like a long way. If you don't want to say thank you for your service, that's a surefire way to win a friend there.
Well, if only there was a place to do that, what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
Now you're going to be hosting this event for Army Navy.
Yes,
for Folds of Honor. Okay.
Yeah. So we're so the event itself is going to have like a tailgate, if you will. It'll be indoor. Obviously, we're in December, so don't know what the weather's going to be like outside. Keeping fingers crossed we don't finally get that big snowstorm we've been missing out on the last few years. But we're going to start at 1:00. Have a 2-hour tailgate leading up to kickoff, and in that time, we're going to have a live band playing. The Pontiacs, a buddy of mine from college, he's a member of the band, and they do good stuff. They play at all sorts of short points over in Jersey, most notably the Stone Pony and Wonder Bar up in Asbury Park. So I know they're going to do a great job, and if you like an open bar, you like live music, and you like football, and you like having a good time for a good cause, then this is the event.
It sounds fantastic. What can you tell me, Mikey, about your service, just so people get an understanding of when you were overseas and just your overall time in?
Yeah, so I started in January of 2011, and then ended up getting out a little bit early just because I had already applied to grad school at Drexel University, and the Marine Corps was looking to downsize. So I said, hey, I'll get out a couple months early. So I ended up getting out at the very end of 2014, and that's when I started grad school and eventually got into sport management and being a high school athletic director. But while I was in, I was stationed at Cherry Point. I was what they call an air support control officer, and controlled close air support for the Marines on the ground, and ended up deploying once to Afghanistan in 2013. Basically, all of 2013, came back at the end of August. And and then at that point knew I wanted to eventually get back into education and be involved as a athletic director at the high school level, which is what I do now. Yep.
I'm always good. And I've never even asked you this. What was your experience in following Philadelphia sports while overseas serving?
Well, while overseas, you tend to get a lot of care packages from family and friends. So a lot of the time I was getting like newspapers and magazines, local newspapers, local magazines that had a lot of stories in them. That was one way. We did have limited internet connectivity. So the months I was deployed, I'm a big baseball fan. So I was always paying attention to Phillies spring training and the ensuing season, and then by the time I get back, it's like toward the end of the season. So, and I believe that year for the Eagles it wasn't the Dream Team year. It was like the year. That was the Chip Kelly year. The 2013, right? That wasn't that when he came.
2013 Dream Team year. I think was 2011, and then there was some cleaning up to do at the tail end of Andy Reid. Chip Kelly came in. Yeah.
But most of my time I spent trying to access Major League or MLB.com, trying to see what was going on, and if I could, sometimes Philly.com was like my other go-to. Again, it was always sporadic. I didn't know if I was going to get something to come through or not. And and that was the infamous Don Brown year where I'm watching Don Brown like rip all these home runs, and I'm like, my God, I'm missing the rise of like the greatest Philly baseball player in history, and I'm over here. And then by the time I get back, Don Brown was not at all what he was for those like first few months of the season. So I didn't get to see good Don Brown.
Oh man, Don Brown has been on the show a number of times. Great guy, and I know if he heard you say it, he'd be laughing too. Now he's an educator. He's coaching baseball now that a youngster.
I know Dom's a coach. It's great.
It's fantastic. So what else can you tell me as far as this event? This is your first time attending an event like this?
This will be my first time hosting an event. I've done other Folds of Honor events. They usually are centered around golf, so trying to do something a little bit different, a little bit off the beaten path for them with the football watch party. But this will be my first time hosting, and just trying to, get people through the door and have a good time at yards and increase awareness about the organization, because we want to make sure that, our local first responders, the police officers, the firefighters, the EMTs, they're aware of it too, because it's actually going to be like right down the street from many of their union halls. So, just want to make sure we get the word out. And even if you can't attend the event, you can always go to our website and become a member and make a donation. So whoever is best for you, or the way you feel to support the cause, by all means. But we'd love to have you there and see you in person.
Fantastic. Two quick ones for you here. Just overall, as a big Philly sports fan, you got to be pretty excited about the state of affairs right now, at least for the Eagles.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the Eagles come into this season with sort of like a sense of focus. I know everybody tends to nitpick their games, but and I mean, it is what it is. We're Philadelphians. That's what we do. But the bottom line is, I think you can see the players that there's a certain focus where they're not letting the little things I guess it would be pile up and drag down their resilience, if you will. That fourth quarter against Dallas wasn't exactly great, but they kept at it, and they kept Dallas out of the end zone in the fourth quarter by inches, right? A couple times. So I feel like, they always say good teams find a way to win. They're finding those ways to win, and they're finding multiple different ways to win. And I like that a lot. Obviously the Philly season ended with a little disappointment. I don't want to talk about them. I still look at my Phillies coffee mug in the morning and get mad. And I have to put it away. But I mean, you got to be happy with what we're seeing right now out of with Maxey and Embiid and Coach Nick Nurse. I think that's a lot to get excited about. And hopefully, they're not going to go 8-1 every 9 games, but I think they're just playing a better brand of basketball. And it just seems more, more free flowing, and everybody's touching the ball's moving around a lot. And I think that's keeping everybody, everybody engaged and unfortunately, feel sorry for Kelly Oubre, but he got off to a heck of a start. I'm looking forward to him come back and watch him play again. So.
And while we're talking about basketball, I have to ask this very pressing question, because I know they're about to make an ESPN 30 for 30 on Elizabethtown basketball. So go ahead. I need your top 3. Who are the top 3 greatest players you ever saw play at E-Town?
Oh, the top 3 greatest that I ever saw play?
Did you ever saw play?
Okay, I'm going to have to go with Greg Adams.
Wow, Greggy.
Yeah.
Big props for Greggy.
Yeah, Pride of Lebanon right there. I'm going to say...
let me just say this to my audience.
Goodwin.
I'm just going to say this to my audience.
Pride of Horsham.
Who went to high school with Colleen Wolfe. Fun
Correct.
fact of NFL Network. Friend of ours. Friend of ours.
And my last one.
Ooh, wow! You're gonna lose some friends over this one. For the audience, this is the selfish portion of the interview. Anyway, this is totally just for the audience.
Considering all these guys I'm naming were my roommates at one point in time.
One is already a blood relative. I can attest. One is already.
I'm gonna have to say it's a tie between Chris Karras and Luke Ledyard.
Wow!
Who are now actually neighbors with each other in a cul-de-sac in Phoenixville. So I'll let those two get into a game of horse or something to decide who gets the higher rank.
I'll do the play-by-play. You could do.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
You could be the analyst.
That's actually the next Folds of Honor event. Is we're gonna have it in their driveway in the cul-de-sac.
Luke and Chris are going to really enjoy that one, friend. That was great, man. So just the final message here is obviously make sure you guys get tickets to this. Make sure you guys can donate. Make sure you donate. Check it out right there, Folds of Honor. And then buy a Marina beer. You can always do that. Yes. And I suggest buying if they're married, buy the Mrs. a Cosmo. That is just just my suggestion. That is just my suggestion. Mikey. True. Mikey, thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate it. And I will say it, and I do mean it. You know I mean it. To you, your father, your grandfather, your oldest brother. I like Ryan too, but just talking about servicemen. But to all you guys, thank you sincerely for your service, and thank you not just for that, but also your continued service in being able to raise awareness and raise funds for those that need it, connected to the United States Marine Corps. Man, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, and really appreciate you.
My thanks again to my buddy Mike Donahue, gonna be hosting that great event. Make sure you guys check that out. If you can donate, that'd be fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Can you imagine being over in Afghanistan and be like, this Don Brown guy is really fantastic, and you come back and be like, ooh, not so great. Of all the things to be over there, first think about the excitement that year. Okay, we're all hyped about Chip Kelly, all hyped about like Don Brown just crushing it. And then you get back and it's all, everybody sucks. That's what you come back to. That's not good. That's not good for anybody. But thank you to Mike. Thank you for your service. Thank you, everyone that has served this fine country, especially with Veterans Day just passing. Let's tell you right now about MyBookie. MyBookie.ag and all MyBookie has to offer. If you found a $100 bill on the ground, you would have just walked past it. Why would you pass up that opportunity to pick up that cash? Just like, why would you pass up the opportunity to win some big money at MyBookie.ag? MyBookie has the biggest online selection of odds and contests to fill all your sports betting needs anytime, anywhere. So you can turn your sports knowledge into cash, baby. Cash in your wallet. Bet on the NFL, bet on the NBA, bet on just about anything, anytime, anywhere at MyBookie. Share the big cash prizes and make sure you take advantage of the weekly blackjack tournaments. If you've been waiting for the right time to get in on all the actions in the sports world, that time is now. Make your money by making the winning move at MyBookie.ag. Sign up at MyBookie and use promo code Farzy to claim your deposit match of $100, redeemable up to $100. Again, that's promo code Farzy to claim your bonus. Experience the thrill of sports betting right from the comfort of your own home. Bet on anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. Let's get into the chat check and see how your wonderful people are doing on this fine morning. I'm going to start it over on the Jacob chat. I haven't started on the Jacob chat this week. I'll do that right now or in a while. Andrew Hernandez. Morning, Farzy. Let's talk some birds. Don't you dare don't you dare ban the tush push. Krieger Bailey, Portland, Jamaica, in the building. I did not know that there was a Portland, Jamaica. I will have to look that up. Tampa Eagle. Hey, Farzy from Tampa. Hey, what's going on, Tampa? I got Tampa in the house. I got Jamaica in the house. What's going on? Swinging. Oh, what's up, Swinging? Nice to see you. Hearts to you, too. Good God. Purdy Mania. Wow. That's a lot of chatting for you, Purdy Mania. See, when I see successive chats like this, all from the same person, I'll just ask you what I ask everybody. Please don't ever wear my face as a hat one day, okay? Do you own a windowless van by chance? If you do, makes me a little nervous. But anyway, I'll read. Purdy Mania, you're just a hater. You just a hater. You just are a hater. Okay, there you go. Purdy Mania, Farzetta, you are bald. This is Blad. I'm Blad. Thank you. You're Blad too. Purdy Mania, you're a mess every morning trying to slam espresso to get the show going. I wouldn't say I'm a mess, but I do slam it. I mean, I only drink one espresso now. See, but by the way, you are Blad. That this is why people are like, why do you struggle reading the chat? And I'm like, well, because sometimes people don't speak English. That's why. They don't write in English, and English is all I got. I got that and a couple of pleasantries in Italian. Maybe a little Spanish. one phrase in German. That's all I got. Oh, no, I got like 3 phrases in Polish. There you go. You are an Eagles fan. That is true, Pretty Mania. Respect the Niners. I do respect the Niners. Okay. So far, I assume you're Blad either means I'm bad or I'm bald. Is that what you were going for? Either way, I do respect the 49ers. But I also state a fact that they're not as good as the Eagles. So I can respect a team and respect another team more. The better team, for instance. Pretty stats are on par with Tom Brady through his first games. Yes. And Ben Roethlisberger. And a couple other guys I never heard of. But, yeah, he's really good. He's played really well. The Niners did just lose 3 games in a row. I can't remember. It's been a while since the Eagles lost 3 games in a row. So I can't identify with your struggles there. But congrats on beating the Jags on the road, nonetheless. It's beating a good team, a hot team on the road. Good job by the 49ers and Brock Purdy after losing 3 straight. Farzetta won't read most of these because he's a bozo. Respect grandfather? What? But he won't read them because the Niners are better. All right, well, that's adorable that you still think that. Tampa Eagle, what's up? Oh, President Joe. What's up, President Joe? Farzy, I got to admit, Niner is right. About me being Blad? Mr. President, hello again. It's going to be Niners versus Dallas and Eagles Lions. Most likely. Can you go to Detroit and win, then go to Santa Clara and win? Are you asking me or are you asking the Eagles? Emily Rodriguez, Tone blocked some people, I think. Why would Tone do that? By the way, Tone isn't up for my show. Tone's in Texas, man. He's like, I don't know, an hour behind us now? What is that? What is Texas now? An hour behind? Yeah, he's not getting up for my show at 5 a.m. his time. Get your booster. Farzy is a big Travis Kelce Pfizer guy. I've heard, but go ahead and get your boost. Thank you. By the way, I saw Rob Schneider. Yeah, Rob Schneider, Deuce Bigelow, Saturday Night Live fame, every Adam Sandler movie ever. I saw he came out against Travis Kelce, and I don't know if there's a beef or what, but Rob is just loving the politics. I hate politics, really any form of politics. So yeah, you do you. That's what I'm gonna say. This is what I learned a lot after the pandemic. You do you, babe. Whatever you got to do, you do you. Get your booster. Low key, Mark the Chiefs will win. Look, I don't think the Eagles are gonna blow them out, but I think the Eagles are gonna win. I think the Eagles are the better team. They're going on the road. Both teams are fresh off their bye. Blah 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 blah. You can know that. Who's the better team? I think the better team is the Philadelphia Eagles. Who's the better quarterback? Yeah, still Patrick Mahomes. I find it very interesting, though, his running numbers are still very much off the chart. But if the Eagles can force him to continue to do that, run the ball more than anything, more than he ever has in his career, which he has done this season, Eagles are going to win that game. And by the way, the Eagles and the Chiefs, there's one storyline on that question. There's one storyline that I was thinking about yesterday. I was going to get to in the morning rush, but now I'm thinking about it and I can't stop thinking about it. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, very similar this season. Both teams don't look nearly as well. Both teams don't look as good as they looked last year. Yet both teams just keep winning. Chiefs are at 7-2. Eagles are at 8-1. So both these teams kind of have something to prove. Not just about the Super Bowl last year, but to continue to win. Oh, they don't look as great as they looked last year. One is 8-1. The other is 7-2. Those are the best 2 records in the NFL, with the Eagles obviously enjoying the edge of being the best record in the NFL. Rakita, what's up? I have no ties to any of these Niner people, and I am a Vikings fan. Well, okay. Appreciate you joining us. Minnesota's a fun town. Why is Nick Sirianni's older brother bald, though? Says Emma. What's going on? Emma. Is that how you say that? Let me know, because we're not related. Although I did recently find out that both our families come from the same region of Italy. So maybe I've been there. It's just a bunch of me walking around, some with hair, some without hair, some with a beard, some with just a mustache. Farzy kind of misreads. See? All right, here we go. Farzy kind of misreads a lot of the chat. He's just a boomer. Like he's only 44 or whatever. I'm not even 44. I'm 41. Just slow on technology and reading. Reading, there's been some struggles in the past and today. But again, when I read the chat, you don't understand. Reading the chat, reading anybody else's words into a microphone live on the air, There's a lot of landmines involved there, okay? Try to be careful with that. I'm going to flip over to the Farzy Show page, see how you wonderful people are doing over here. John Carter, greetings, my friends. Stay blessed, mighty strong. Thank you, John. Nice to see you. IBH, what's going on? Sean Kilrain, Sean Gillespie, April. Morning, April. Ooh, Sean Kilrain's got a trade. What do you got? Saw this trade. Do you do it for Kyle Kuzma from Marcus Morris Sr., Furkan Korkmaz, Daniel House Jr.? They still have the rights to Daniel House? And a 2026 first-round pick. For Kyle Kuzma? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not. If I'm using a first-round pick, it's for a game changer. And I don't think Kyle Kuzma is a game changer. Sean Gillespie, IBH, Kuzma has been far from the most efficient scorer over the past several years, but this deal will probably make him a reserve. I'm not giving up a first-round pick for a reserve. So, yeah, I'm not doing that deal. 18, 10, and 18 win season. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying now, Sean. Had the process years out of my memory. Thanks, Fars. Yeah, sorry about that. Sean Kilrain, let's ride. Broncos 24-22 win over the Bills and company. That look one-dimensional Bills. Far I'll say this, and to answer your next question about Sean McDermott still have a job after the season, probably not. That was horrendous last night. I'm going to save that for the morning rush, but yeah, that was horrendous last night. But yes, I would say the Bills falling to 5-5 is one of the most disappointing storylines of the season. That's what that is. That's horrendous. And if you're going to have a team with that kind of talent, that kind of defense, I mean, you're talking about a team over the last couple of years that's been like, 1-2 in points scored, 1-2 in yards allowed, 1-2 in points allowed. Like juggernaut offense, juggernaut defense, can't win in the playoffs. Man, following the Eagles overseas back then, can you think of just think about the infancy days of the internet, and not just the internet in general, but I mean like specifically trying to follow sports. I remember being in an internet cafe. Kids didn't even know what that is. I was in, where was I? I was in Peru, and I was in this internet cafe, and I was just trying to like see what the Phillies were doing in. It was 2008. Phillies were on the way to the World Series. It must have been June. And I think the Phillies had just played Barry Bonds and the San Francisco Giants, if I remember correctly. And Ryan Howard put a ball. So first, Barry Bonds put it on like the third deck of the upper deck there in Citizens Bank Park. And then Ryan Howard hit a ball over the McDonald's sign in right field. And I just remember thinking those. And I remember watching that. And I'm like, it was like every half a second, it was like buffering at the bottom of the screen. And I was like, oh, this is costing me like $5 a minute. And I'm watching, and I just was enjoying the highlights of the Eagles, or excuse me, the Phillies, and trying to read stories on the Eagles getting ready in training camp. For training camp, I should say. Oh, that's nice, Sean. You should try to go to that event. April. Niners fans showing off their great educations. April, right? Am I right? I mean, come on, it's not too bad. You know what I'm saying? Thank God we play those whiners this year. Here's where I'm at with the San Francisco 49ers. I do have respect for the team. I think they're a good team. I love their defense. Their defense is incredible. All right. I love Javon Hargrave. Still love Javon Hargrave. Okay. But if I'm picking the better team, I think the Eagles win that game because they are the better team. And I don't want to put as much stock in the game as some other people have, but I mean, how do you not? I really want the Eagles to win that game would just be fantastic. Because for almost a year, we've just been talking about, like, the 49ers fans have talked about us and thrown us so much shade. And we're just like, go back to, like, enjoy, like, just relax. Just go to Santa Clara, enjoy Silicon Valley, write some computer code, and, just then we'll get back to football later. But right now, I'm just tired of, like, somehow the 49ers have become more of a nuisance than the Dallas Cowboys, because the Dallas Cowboys aren't a very good football team. Not when they play actual good football teams, like the 49ers or like the Philadelphia Eagles, for example. They play the Giants, and oh my goodness gracious, they're incredible. But they have somehow, with all their whining, have become more annoying than Cowboys fans. I didn't think that ever happened, where we'd find a fan base. Maybe it's because the 49ers are a legit threat, like they're a good team. I don't think the Eagles blow them out 50-0. It's not like they don't belong on the same field as the Eagles. They absolutely do. But it's just bottom line, who's the better team? Philadelphia Eagles. I really need the Eagles to win that game because it would just be like you don't even have an argument anymore. You don't even have an argument. Although what'll be hilarious is whatever happens in that game and the Eagles win, the whiners will still find a way to whine, bitch, moan, and complain. And that, too, I will just take as adorable. April, I love this. Red Cowboys fans. Yeah, I agree. They have taken over that kind of moniker right now, the biggest whiners in all of sports. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are fantastic as per usual. Even you, Purdy Mania. Even you. Just adorable. Wait, I just saw this with Sammy Khan. What's up, Sammy Khan? We got to bring in Mike Muscala to be the bell ringer. That is a brilliant idea. Sammy, that is absolutely brilliant. I love this comment here. All right, so we have Tyrese Maxey shouting out Mike Muscala. Shout out to Mike. I like being here. Love it. What better scenario? Where's Mike Muscala now? With the Wizards? See what the Wizards? I think it's the Wizards. The next time the Wizards are in town, Mike Muscala comes out, rings the bell. Better yet, because that'll never happen, Sixers have a playoff game. Wizards most likely don't. Mike Muscala comes out, rings the bell. Sammy Khan, Sammy Chan, Sammy Shone. Love the idea. Great idea. Freaking brilliant. You people are just wonderful. Oh, my goodness gracious. You guys are great. Wait, Shark Bait? What's up, Shark Bait? Fantastic. All right. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Yes, the Broncos came back to beat the Bills last night 24-22 in an absolutely insane Monday Night Football game where the Buffalo Bills did everything in their power to lose that football game. First, let me just admire before I disintegrate. Cortland Sutton, oh my goodness gracious, what a catch that was. If you haven't seen that catch, by the tippy toes, getting that touchdown to happen for the Broncos last night. Phenomenal catch last night. But, man, the Bills. So the Bills couldn't keep the ball in their hand. They fumbled. They turned the ball over on the first play of the game. It's the second time they've turned the football over on the first play of the game. If you took every other team in the NFL, all 31 teams, okay, so the Bills, let's go to their tally, okay? The Bills have lost the football, have turned it over on the first play of their game twice this season. 31 other teams combined. You know how many times they've lost the football on their first possession, their first play of the game? Twice. That's right. The Bills have many turnovers on the first play of the game as the rest of the league combined. That's bonkers. And last night was no exception. They still found a way to turn the football over. In total last night, what was it? 4 turnovers to 1. Good God, man. Both teams went into the game even at the turnover battle. That's terrible. Especially when you think about a defense like the Buffalo Bills. That's god-awful. Absolutely horrendous. Josh Allen has now thrown an interception. I believe this was 6 straight games with an interception. He threw 2 last night. So Josh Allen has obviously been struggling. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games with interception. He's only had 2 games this season where he hasn't thrown a pick. Holy Stromboli, that's terrible. So yeah, they lost, and then the Bills, as if giving the football away 4 times wasn't enough. The Bills had a pass interference call to set up the game-winning field goal for the Broncos. But wait, there's more. Before the game-winning field goal, the Bills substituted 11 guys on the field 12 guys on the field as opposed to 11, and they got called for too many men on the field. And what makes it even more beautiful, the Broncos missed the field goal. What would have been the game-winning field goal, they miss it. The Bills give them extra life with the penalty. They march back onto the football field. They kick the field goal for the game winner, 24-20 in favor of the Broncos. The Broncos now have their longest winning streak in the Russell Wilson era of 3. They've won 3 games in a row. Congratulations to them. Hey, you know why I'm excited today? Because the 76ers take on the Pacers. They're back at 7 o'clock tonight. Sixers go for 9 straight wins. And this continues to be what I will call the march to Camden. Okay? Because if the Sixers win the in-season tournament, I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that we have a parade around Camden. Because that's the only thing we get. You parade around the practice facility. We can go over the Battleship, New Jersey. We go into the Tweeter Center. I'm still calling it the Tweeter Center. You have to call it. The rule is you have to call it whatever it was called in your high school era. So for me, it was the Tweeter Center. All right. Then we march to the Tweeter Center where Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid give a incredible speech to the Sixer faithful in Camden. And then if they win the actual title, then we'll have the parade in Philadelphia. That's how that works. So yes, the march to Camden. It continues tonight with the NBA in-season tournament in South Philly. Pacers and Sixers at 7 o'clock. Tyrese Maxey will go for back-to-back 50-point games. Flyers and Hurricanes back at it tomorrow night, 7:30 in Carolina as the Flyers come back to the East Coast. They've won 2 in a row. So they are piping hot, are the Philadelphia Flyers. So that's exciting. Get exciting, everybody. Red Zone. Farzy, do you watch Bill Burr? Occasionally. I like Bill Burr. I think he's a good comic. I had some painting to do yesterday in the house. So I painted. And I listened to put on the Netflix special. One of the Netflix specials of Nate Bargatze. He's good. He's really good. I like him. He's really good. Been meaning to watch one of those for a while and finally had an opportunity to do it yesterday. But I've seen a lot of Bill Burr's stuff. Red Zone, cool. Me too. All right, cool. Thanks for the conversation. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. All right, I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, talking about another 76ers win, a 9th in a row, which would be nice. Jim Hyder produced the program, did a wonderful job. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and all that type jazz. Coming up at 8 o'clock on the Jacob Media YouTube channel, we got Birds 365 starting off at 8 o'clock with Jody Mack and Johnny Mack. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.